So we shake hands. Shake hands. You know what we've been practicing for the past so many days. Thank you. Thank you, sir. You again. There's your one.
This is your account. Kulang. Sabi pa ko din na.
At kulang daw. Pirmahan natin.
Of the statement? Yeah. Okay.
So we're missing one? No, we have to sign with one more.
Give me some fake.
Then we need one more.
Maybe we can just informal.
They need one more.
Is that okay with the press? That you can process Thank you very much. Well, we'll hand out a copy of the communique, and I think also we have an informal session here where the press can approach the various participants, and we'll have interviews and talks. So please.
Yes. Someone will have to make a question.
Okay, I know this will be tough, so but Vega usually have this kind of
I don't know how you want to do that. You mentioned something about the negotiations being on social and economic reforms or issues as far as I understand next month. Can you be more specific about it? And what are the main bonds of contention remaining actually before you actually reach a peace deal?
Well, the social economic reforms will include very vital topics which we consider to be the roots of the armed conflict. A big question or issue will be the question of land reform. So that would mean that about 75% of the Philippine population, which are peasants, their yearning is for genuine land reform. So that will be a very big point to be taken up. The other is national industrialization. Then there will be issues like economic sovereignty, question of the environment. So these are some very big issues which affect the whole Philippine population, and it will be a very tough negotiations that will have to take place to arrive at agreements on these vital issues.
Could you also say something about the agenda for the next month? What are we expecting in
the agenda is already covered in our joint communique. It will cover the the convening of the RWC or the working committee.
Working committee
On the economic, social and economic reforms, as well as the working group on political and constitutional reforms. I think these are two of the four more important agreements that will be finalized eventually. So we're moving towards that, and hopefully this will carry on and move forward so that we can complete what started out with the agreements on human rights and international humanitarian law, now with the social and economic reforms, proceeding to the constitutional and political reforms, and finally to the final political settlement. So these are really tough questions or issues that we have to settle among ourselves. Yeah.
Have you discussed releasing prisoners, and are there any terms for coming forward to negotiations?
Yes, it's a major issue also, the issue of political prisoners. There are about 350 political prisoners in the Philippines. The great majority of these, about 95%, are prisoners that have been detained, arrested during the time of the Gloria Macapagal Arroyo regime, which has to be held responsible for this. And we will have our detailed discussions on the best and effective ways for the release of these political prisoners. There are political prisoners that have been ordered released by Gloria Macapagal Arroyo since 2001. There are still 4 of them. Yes, and then there are 7 that were agreed upon in Oslo Joint Statement number 2 of April. And out of 32 that were supposed to be released, there are still 7. So there are classifications of elderly, of women, those who are sick. This will be worked on during the coming months.
So, sir, there is no actual release after the TPO document?
No, I think government has not been remiss in this direction. Ever since the advent of the new administration of President Noynoy Aquino, I think we have reviewed each and every case that involved human rights violations, and in fact was also instrumental in the release eventually of the Morong 43, a very big or a known case. So we are still reviewing many of the cases. We have also taken into consideration specific cases of consultants that need to be part of the negotiations, and we have endeavored to assure the NDF that we will try our very best to have them released. So I think we have not been remiss in this direction. Remember, this is an administration that started only in July of last year, or barely 7 months old, and yet it has already gone a long way from what used to be certain policies of the past government that have now been overturned. Mainly the counterinsurgency program, for one, even the structures that were established previously to actually cement political repression has been removed by this government. So I think we are laying the foundations of a truly democratic and caring government, and we want the NDF to actually realize that and come back to the fold.
Sir, did the NDF get any assurance from the peace panel, from the government side, that regarding the justice? Because I think one of the issues that hang over the talks now would be the fact that they feel that the government is not doing enough to ensure that
No, JASIG is an effective agreement. I myself guaranteed or assured them of its reactivation when we issued a letter in December in Hong Kong, reiterating that JASIG is in effect effective. However, there are certain procedures and guidelines that has to be followed, and so whenever there is a an allegation that one is JASIC covered. We just want to ensure that the proper procedures are followed towards it. But as far as JASIC is concerned, we are fully implementing it and fully adhering to it.
Is the Philippine government satisfied with the direction of the task?
The mere fact that I think we came up here and we have actually signed these preliminary talks and in fact moving to the formal talks, we are very happy. I think this is a move really in the right direction. It hastens the need for a political settlement. A settlement, let me remind you, that is not one of capitulation or surrender, but a dignified, just settlement of all our issues or concerns. No? And yes, again, we're very happy with it and looking forward to the next stage of the negotiations.
On your question about the application of JASIC, both sides have agreed to work for the expeditious release covering with the protection of JASIC of 14 NDFP consultants who are presently detained, and then the arrangement for 3 who are with warrants of arrest so that they can participate in the peace talks. So these are some important points that have been brought up, and arrangements have been made, and the lawyers of the NDF consultants and protected by JASIC are set to meet with